Hi all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share two stories with you. Yes, two. Because I didn't record a video yesterday, so I figure I owe you one. Plus, both of the stories I'm going to share with you will scare the crap out of any parents watching, so rather than torturing you twice with two separate videos, I decided to let you rip them off like a band-aid in one. Why share stories that will scare the crap out of parents, you ask? Excellent question. Because parents and caregivers need to be made aware of what's going on out in the world so they can use extra caution to protect their children. And because I'm a parent and I'd want someone to tell me. But before I begin, I just want to send a word of encouragement out there to homeschooling parents. I know it's tough. I did it myself. But you can do it. I'm sure you're doing a great job. And believe it or not, this is an incredible opportunity to create unforgettable memories with your children. Let me tell you, I learned more homeschooling my kids than I ever learned when I attended school. Because when you're a kid, things don't make sense like they do when you're an adult. So, hang in there. You got this. And, trust me, their school years will be over before you know it. So, enjoy this time with them while you can. Okay, enough being nice. Now on to scaring you to death. Let's begin our journey in Smith County, Texas. Police in Smith County received a disturbing report about a babysitter in their jurisdiction, so they investigated it. They found that on October 3rd of 2020, an 11-month-old baby was found all alone in the apartment where she lived. Upon further investigation, police learned that the babysitter, Kelsey Page Frazier, decided to go hang out with one of her friends after the baby was left in her care, but it wasn't convenient for her to take the baby with her, so she left her behind at the apartment, alone, for hours. And it's not like the baby was sleeping, so she snuck out for a few, which isn't okay either. No, the baby was apparently wide awake, so she strapped her into a baby bouncer and put her inside the bathroom closet, you know, so she could hang out with her friend and get paid for it, apparently. Clever. Anyway, according to police, the precious little 11-month-old was left strapped into the bouncer in the bathroom closet for upwards of 3 hours until she just happened to be found by a friend of babysitter Kelsey's after she went to the apartment looking for Kelsey. The friend told police that she heard Kelsey's dog barking when she arrived at the apartment, so she went in to let the dog out. After she let the dog out and the barking stopped, she said she could hear the baby crying in the bathroom. She said she found the baby crying in the bouncer in the bathroom closet, so she took custody of the baby and made sure she was all right. The baby's parents were notified of the incident, and now the baby is safe. Smith County deputies say they arrested Kelsey and charged her with the criminal offense of abandoning, endangering a child, imminent danger of bodily injury, which is a second-degree felony. She's being held on a $150,000 bond. Terrible story, huh? I wonder how long that precious baby would have stayed crying in that closet if Kelsey's friend hadn't come by and found her. 'Cause, if you think about it, that's the only way Kelsey got caught. If her friend didn't go in her apartment, she would have gotten away with it. Makes you wonder how many other times she babysat and left people's babies alone for hours while she went and hung out with her friends, doesn't it? Maybe it was a regular thing for her, so she didn't think she'd get caught. Police say Kelsey left her apartment at 9:30 that morning, and her friend found the child around 12:30 p.m., so the baby was left alone for 3 hours, only because she happened to be found. If she hadn't been found, who knows how long she would have sat in that closet crying, probably hungry or thirsty, and no doubt scared. Thank God the dog was barking, probably trying to alert someone that the baby was crying. You know what scares the hell out of me? Aside from what could have happened to that munchkin while she was being left alone? I wonder if the friend had a key to get into Kelsey's apartment. News reports didn't say. If she didn't, and the door was unlocked, then anybody could have gone into that apartment and found that baby there alone, and she could have been abducted. I bet you're thinking that Kelsey must be an irresponsible teen or 20-year-old. Well, you'd be wrong. Authorities say she's 26 years old. Bet you're also thinking she probably just wasn't checked out well before being hired. She probably didn't have any references, right? Well, you'd be wrong again. A mother who almost hired Kelsey as a nanny for her children said she checked out just fine. The parents of the 11-month-old abandoned in Kelsey's apartment also said that Kelsey was highly recommended by their pediatrician. Sounds like you can't be much more thorough than that, huh? They're so grateful Kelsey's friend found their child, and they were notified right away. They feared that if she hadn't been found, then Kelsey could have been there when they went to pick her up, and she could have acted like she was there the whole time. They said they thought they found the perfect babysitter for their baby Addison. Addison's mother said that Kelsey told them all the time how much she loved Addison, and she wants to know why she abused her baby. She also said this is going to be difficult for the community to wrap their heads around, because Kelsey was considered such a pillar of their community. Everyone thinks she's wonderful, she said. Wow. Scary, huh? She checked out just fine and was recommended by Addison's pediatrician. Not sure you can be more thorough than that, but it's always the wonderful ones, isn't it? The ones you'd never suspect. The pillars of our communities. Think you're out of the woods because you don't have young children who need a babysitter? Not so fast, my loves. Not so fast. You didn't think I'd forget those of you with teens, did you? I would hope you would know me better than that by now. Frankly, just the thought that I would neglect to scare the crap out of you equally as much as anybody else kind of hurts my feelings. But I shall let it go just this one time as we journey on to Springhill, Florida, where authorities say a man from the state of Louisiana was arrested after he was discovered living in the bedroom closet of a 15-year-old girl. According to an article dated September 30th of 2020 on people.com crime, police in Springhill were called to the girl's home after her parents found 36-year-old Jonathan Rossmoyne in their daughter's closet. If you happen to be home while listening to this, I know you just got up to go check your teen's closets, so I'll wait. Oh, and don't forget to check under their beds. Just a thought. Okay, all is well? No strange men? Excellent. Let's continue. Apparently, Rossmoyne traveled from Louisiana to Florida multiple times to abuse the young girl that he met on a social media app. Police were told that he made several trips to have sexual relations with the 15-year-old over a 2-year period, and that he had been living in her bedroom closet on and off since August of 2020. They said he would live in her closet when her parents were home and come out only after they left for work. Ugh. Detectives said her parents became suspicious when they heard noises coming from her room, and that was when they discovered him there. Rossmoyne was arrested and charged with 4 counts of lewd and lascivious behavior with a victim between the ages of 12 and 16, and 1 count of obscene communication. His bond was set at only $25,000 after he made his first court appearance. $25,000. So he would need to post what? 10% of that to make bail? So $2,500? Doesn't sound like much for a guy who traveled regularly from Louisiana to Florida over a 2-year period, does it? And if he didn't start living in her closet before August of this year, I wonder where he stayed before that when he went to see her. I wonder if she kept him a secret for the entire 2 years, or if she told her friends about him. 2 years seems like an awfully long time to keep a secret at the age of 15 to me. But somehow she did it, and he got away with it. Thank God her parents suspected something and checked. Who knows how long it would have gone on if they never found him. One of the news reports I read quoted a child psychologist who said, "Kids can be doing things under our noses and in your house that you might not be aware of that could shock you." Obviously, I'm not even her parent, and I was shocked all to hell when I read about it. Now, I know you didn't just say not my child, because I know you're not that naive. Sure, we all want to think our kids would never do shocking things, but remember when you were a teenager? Unless you were a perfect angel like I was, you know you did things that, if your parents ever knew, would shock the hell out of them. And yet, many of us still want to see only the best in our children, so we don't pay attention to red flags, or maybe ignore signs that we should be paying closer attention. Now, I'm not saying your kids aren't great, they probably are, but kids are smart, and sometimes they do things right under our noses that we miss because we don't even know to look for it. Then when we find out, we feel shame and guilt because we didn't know. As I say this, one story that comes to mind is the story of the Columbine High School shooters. The two boys who extensively planned and carried out the shooting at their high school did it right under their parents' noses. I don't know if you watch TED Talks or not, but the mother of one of the Columbine shooters, Sue Klebold, did a TED Talk about how she's coped with what her son did and how she dealt with everyone targeting her as a bad parent and asking how she didn't know he was helping plan the massacre right under her nose. You can find her TED Talk on YouTube. It's worth a watch. She said she thought she was a good parent and that she will never get over the guilt she feels. I'm not judging, but some parents feel they should give their children privacy in their bedrooms so they don't check their rooms so as not to invade their space. As much as I understand that parents want to give their children a space of their own, that is the easiest way for their kids to hide things from them. I don't know if the parents of the Columbine shooters ever checked their rooms or not, but the police expressed concern that the shooters' parents never intervened in their plans, as they claim they found a diary that included a year of plans for the massacre, along with computer materials outlining the attack, bomb-making materials, and a sawed-off shotgun, which they say were all out in clear view in the boys' rooms. Now, in all fairness, just because police say they were clearly visible at the time of their search, that doesn't mean that they weren't well hidden before the day of the shooting. But maybe if their parents had gone through their rooms here and there without their knowledge, it always has to be without their knowledge, or they won't leave anything there for you to find. Maybe they would have found things, and maybe the shooting would have been prevented. The Columbine shooting had many moving parts. If you don't know much about it, it's worth looking into. Actually, I should do a video about it. People were so shocked and horrified after the shooting. It raised a lot of important discussions about how their parents didn't know what they were planning, whether or not parents should be held criminally liable, when their children commit horrific crimes, and whether or not things like violent video games and alternative types of music encourage violent behavior. If you happen to be a fan of the artist Marilyn Manson and or his music, but you are not familiar with the Columbine shooting, Manson took a lot of heat after the shooting because the media reported that the shooters wore Manson t-shirts the day of the massacre and were influenced by his music. This theory was never proven during the police investigation and was therefore dismissed. But Manson claims not before it destroyed his career. I never knew much about Marilyn Manson prior to the shooting, but after the shooting, he did an interview discussing how he wasn't surprised that the media made him and his music a target due to his shocking appearance and rock song lyrics. I never had an opinion one way or another about Marilyn Manson before he sat down for the interview, but during it, he said something that I will never forget and made me view him from that day forward with huge amounts of respect. You can find the interview on YouTube under Bowling for Columbine 2002. Marilyn Manson talks about fear. Bowling for Columbine was a documentary done by Michael Moore about the shooting and the victims. During the interview, Michael Moore asks Marilyn Manson, if you were to talk directly to the kids at Columbine or the people of that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now? And Marilyn Manson replied, I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say. And that's what no one did. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you on my next video.